Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to talk about the best supplement I have ever found for helping with heavy periods. Now, a couple of years ago I did a video talking about all the supplements I use to help with heavy periods, and one in particular was of a lot of interest. I had a lot of questions, and in this video I'm going to expand on that supplement. And that supplement is Slow Flow by Vitanica. Before we get into it, I need to let you know that I'm in no way affiliated with Vitanica and they aren't endorsing this video. I don't get any money from them for this video. I'm giving you this recommendation purely because this supplement has been such a game changer for me. I really do think that if you have heavy periods, it's something you want to check out. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is tell you the 3 ways that I use the Slow Flow to give you an idea for how it might help you. Of course, everybody is different, so your experience with it is going to be different than mine, but hopefully when you hear how I use it, it gives you some ideas for how it might give you some relief. And then at the end of it, I'll quickly run you through the ingredients just so you have a better idea for how the supplement works. So the first way that I use the Slow Flow is to lessen the flow. That's what it's all about, right? But I'm not a doctor, and so I can't say for sure, but my intuition is that we should never try to completely stop our flow. Like, we have to shed that uterine lining every month. So I don't use it to completely try to stop the flow, especially during those first couple of days, because I do want my uterine lining to shed properly. This is a supplement that, in my opinion and in my experience, works more acutely to stop flow. So it's not going to overall reduce the heaviness of your period, but when you have those heavy days, when you need to go out and do something, or you need to sleep through the night, then that's where I think Slow Flow becomes invaluable to you. Now, I'm somebody that has insanely heavy periods, so it's quite likely if you're watching this, your periods aren't as bad as mine. Hopefully they're not as bad as mine. And so you may be able to use Slow Flow on your heavy days if you have something like a meeting that you have to sit through, or if you have to pick up your kids from school and you're just worried about bleeding through. Those will be great ways to use the Slow Flow. In those instances, because it works acutely, it's quite likely that after about an hour of taking it, you're just gonna find that you feel a little bit safer going out and doing things. Now, for me personally, with the really heavy periods, I use Slow Flow on those first couple of days at night. So before bed, I take it with 2 ibuprofen, because ibuprofen can actually help lighten the flow as well. And I'll take 2 ibuprofen and a full dose of Slow Flow. And that lets me sleep through the night, often without even having to change a pad and without bleeding into the sheets. And for those of you with heavy periods, you'll know how annoying it is to have to deal with bleeding overnight. And recently, actually, because of COVID, quite likely, Vitanica ran out of Slow Flow, and I was without it for probably about 4 or 5 months. And I actually started bleeding into my sheets again at night, and I missed it so much. So it was so good when I had it back, and it just gives me that peace of mind when I go to bed on those heavy nights. So that's the first way that I would use it, acutely on those heavy days, to just slow your flow when you need to do things or when you want to sleep. Now, the second way that I use Slow Flow is actually after my period, when my period is supposed to be done. So for those of you in your 40s, you'll know that sometimes your periods drag on and on and on, or you think it's done and it comes back. And that's so annoying when you just want to start getting on with your life. And so for me, that often comes up when I want to go to the gym, for example. And I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna start bleeding again, which happens so often. And what I've found with the Slow Flow is if I take it about an hour before I go to the gym, I tend to have less accidents. In fact, I pretty much don't have any problems when I take the Slow Flow. It helps to just bind everything up and make me feel a little bit better when I'm out and about. And similarly, sometimes when I start back working with clients after my period, because I have to take days off during the heavy days, and then I start back, and then I'll think I'm good, and then all of a sudden my period will just come whooshing back like just mad. And that's where the slow flow really helps me, because I'll go and I'll take that, and then I'll know that I can get through an afternoon with clients when my period decides to start kicking up again. So that's the second way I use it, just to manage that bleeding when it comes on again, when you think everything's over and good. Now, the third way that I use the slow flow is actually not so much to do with the flow, but to do with cramps. Now, if you're somebody who has really bad cramps, this may not apply to you, but over the years, despite my periods getting worse and being really heavy, I don't actually have a lot of cramps because I've learned to control them through diet. And so sometimes though, I'll get very low level cramps, just a little bit of discomfort, and I've found that the slow flow is enough to knock them out, and it does so fairly quickly. Now, even though I'm not affiliated with Vitanica, I've had some mentoring with them so that I could fully understand their products, because I do often recommend them to clients. When I talked to the representative about this, she suggested that the reason I was having such a good experience in terms of cramps was just probably because there is an anti-inflammatory effect of the supplement. And when you look at the ingredients, my guess is that it comes from the ginger that's in the supplement, because in the past I've used ginger as a supplement standing alone to knock out cramps. That's an added benefit for those of you who maybe just have a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of pain, and you don't want to take an ibuprofen. Or if you take your slow flow with an ibuprofen, it's a sort of double whammy that knocks them out really fast, in my experience at least. But as I said, if you've got really wicked cramps, it's probably not going to be enough to completely knock them out for you, but it may overall help. Now, what I'm going to do is quickly run you through the ingredients so you understand why slow flow works so well. First of all, it's got some vitamins that help with heavy periods. Vitamin A has been shown in the research to lessen heavy periods, so there's some vitamin A. It's got vitamin C and bioflavonoids, both of which are shown to help with heavy periods. And then it's also got some vitamin K, which can help with blood clotting, which is really important if you have heavy periods. The research suggests that women who have heavy periods don't clot as well. And so it's important that you have something that helps support that if you're somebody who suffers with heavy periods. So those vitamins are going to help you overall have better periods, but I think the real power in this supplement comes from the herbs. And the one that I think is probably having the most action, the most helpful action, is the shepherd's purse. So shepherd's purse is known to herbalists as a binding herb. It helps bind up fluids and blood, and it's used a lot to help stop bleeding. I read a blog of a New Zealand herbalist who described shepherd's purse as having an overall binding effect, and that's exactly what I experienced with this supplement. He said that you'll almost be able to just feel it sort of bind everything up. And when I take slow flow, within about half an hour, I just feel like that's exactly what it's done. I feel so much safer, and you can sort of feel that effect in your body. And so for me, my instinct is that it's the shepherd's purse that's making the most difference in this supplement for me. But it also has yarrow. Yarrow is also used by herbalists for heavy bleeding and improving circulation, and it's anti-inflammatory. And then it also has ginger. Ginger has been shown in the research to help with heavy periods and have an anti-inflammatory effect, which is important to help with that heavy flow, but that's also going to help you with cramps and discomfort, which we've already talked about. So there's also crane's bill or some sort of herb in it. I'm not actually sure what that does. I haven't looked into that one. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is that some of the websites actually say that there's life root in it, which is a bit more of a controversial herb. It's not in the formula anymore. It's just that websites like iHerb have not updated the website to match the new label. And I just wanted to mention that because in my other video about heavy periods, I got comments about the live fruit. So don't worry, it's not in the formula anymore. So I hope you found that helpful. Overall, Slow Flow has been a complete game changer for me. And if you have heavy periods, I can't recommend it enough. It can't hurt to try it. For me, it's just given me such a sense of security when I need to get back to having a life again, when I finally want to leave the house. Honestly, my periods are so heavy and out of control these days that I don't think it does much to reduce the overall heaviness of them. So remember, this is more of an acute supplement. It's going to help you when you need to go out and do things or when you need to sleep through the night. But definitely give it a try, because when you have heavy periods, any relief you can get will just be so appreciated. Leave me questions in the comments if you have any. I'm always happy to answer them there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.